Hey, what's up guys, Boost here and welcome back to another One Piece video. Of course, with Bandai announcing they would be releasing a new ban list on the 16th of March, so the second day of the World Championship. Had to do a video about it, right, because people are talking about it, and I really think this is like a fun subject to talk about. Anyways, I don't want to linger on that too long. Let me just explain real quick how I will be doing this, because as you can see I have like a tier list here, and I will be doing it in that format because it's a nice format, right? So basically I have 4 tiers. Will definitely change, so basically these are cards that I think will very likely change on the ban list, then might change, I think they have a chance of changing on the ban list, will probably not change, so I feel like they will probably not change, I mean it's in the title, right? But they might, and then will definitely not change. As cards I think definitely will not be hit or get unbanned. And as you can see I have like a list of cards down below here. Some of them are cards that are not on the ban list, which I will be talking about first, and then after that we'll take a look at the cards that are currently on the ban list that, you know, might come back or might not come back. We will see. But yeah, starting out with the cards that might get banned. The real big contender here is of course Doflamingo, right? It's been the top deck since 8.5, and it's looking currently in OP11 or ABO2. It's still one of the top decks, although it looks like Green Purple Luffy has overtaken it currently as like the most popular deck, but we have been dealing with this deck a real long time, right? So basically, I've seen people talk about the leader getting banned, and I definitely don't think this leader card is getting banned. I think there is definitely a possibility that they might hit Dofi, but I definitely think it will be in the support cards. I don't really see them outright killing this deck like they have with Sakazuki and Law. I really feel like both those decks, they were even more dominant than Dofi is currently, and I think, I mean, it should be easy to balance Dofi out, right? It was a really balanced deck pre the release of the structure decks, so it shouldn't be, in my opinion, too hard to get it back to like a manageable level, even though I do think that the form is quite healthy right now. Then the next card we have here is Jinbe. Basically Jinbe and Law are the cards I consider to be the most likely in the Dofi deck to get hit. And I actually think Law is more prone to get hit than Jinbe personally. Again, like, Jinbe got released in OPO7 if I remember correctly, and it didn't make that big of an impact. Like, the deck was definitely competitively viable, but it was like a meta contender. And it's really the newer cards that really help push it over the top, in my opinion. So for that reason, I think Jinbe probably will not be changing. Like, I think it will stay at 4, and I think it should stay at 4 as well, to be honest. Law, on the other hand, I really think this is one of the like more problematic cards of the Dofi deck, because prior to this, Dofi used to be basically just an aggro deck that sometimes, depending on the build, switched more to a control style during the later game, but now because of Law, it's like an aggro deck that also plays the control game like exceptionally well, which I think is a little bit of a broken deck design. And for that reason, I feel like Law might get hit on the ban list. I wouldn't say it's getting hit for sure, but this is, in my opinion, a prime contender to get hit. Just so powerful, even like with the Warlord lock it has. I think this card is possibly too strong, and I wouldn't be surprised if it gets banned, actually. I don't really see them limiting it. Like, even if they limit it, you can just loop it around with the Moria and stuff, so I'm not sure if there would be a point to that. But yeah, I think if something in the Dofi deck will get hit, it will probably be Law. Yeah. Now moving on to the non-Dofi cards we have in the current format. Basically, we have Moria. This card has been complained so much about, and I get it, right? It's probably just the single card that gets the most value in the entire game for its Dawn cost. Honestly, there's 10 drops that do less than this card does, and this is an 8 drop with 9k power as well. It just does so much. It's so versatile. It's definitely the best Black has to offer, and Black has been on the top for quite a while now, with Lucci, but more specifically with Black Yellow Luffy as well. I really think that's probably the deck that this card is most problematic in, and then followed by Lucci. And the funny thing is, like, outside of these two decks, right, the card is kind of fair. Like, yes, it's very, very good, but it doesn't like do very broken stuff in my opinion. But just the synergy it has with the Black Yellow Luffy cards, getting the small brothers tagging into the big brothers, and with the Lucci cards with like Spendine as well, and Rebecca, of course, just very, very good. However, I do not think they will be hitting this card. I put it on my change. Like, I don't think they will, and I don't think they should, because honestly, Moria is the only card that's keeping Black competitively viable. It's really sad to say this, but honestly, like, without this card, I see a lot of like the pseudo-viable decks like Perona, Moria, Smoker. I don't really see them being that good anymore. However, the reason I think it might change is because they want to boost like their new black boss monsters. And I've been talking about this with my friends, and basically the conclusion is, like, why would I play like this Garb they just announced, or the Kobe, if I can just for the same amount of Dawn play down Gecko Moria and do like infinitely more with it. But yeah, I think it might change as well, because it limits future card design. Like, this card existing, it basically limits what cards they can print as like 4 and 2 costs, because there might be just broken combos with it. Even like other cards, right? Because for example, the Big Brothers, they are all 5 cost in the Black Yellow Luffy deck, and this card still has like broken interaction with it, so it does kind of hinder future card design. And I think for that sole reason it might get hit, but I think it probably won't. And I did a poll on my in my community tab on YouTube, in fact, and people agreed that Moria probably will live. And then the next one is Rebecca. This is just another commonly complained about card in the black decks, I should say. And I get it. Again, it's very, very powerful. But basically black needed to compete, right? Like, the black card would just used to be not that good, and this is one of the few good cards it has. And also currently, the Blackbeard deck is kind of keeping black in check as a whole anyway, and I don't expect that to be changing very soon. So yeah, I feel like Rebecca should probably be safe, to be honest. Like, way, way more so than Moria. Then we're going to be looking ahead a little bit, because of course in the East they already have played with a couple more sets than we have, and people have been complaining about Burgas, in fact, but I'll be short about this. I feel like they probably will not hit the Blackbeard deck, since it hasn't been like the top deck in any format anyway, with Dofi always being more popular. Although I guess if they do hit Dofi, then maybe Blackbeard could become pretty oppressive, so it kind of depends on that, I guess. But I think they will not be hitting Burgas, because let's face it, Burgas is basically like one of the 2 win conditions the deck has, and if you ban Burgas, you might as well just ban the leader, right? Because the deck just becomes outright unplayable. So for that reason, I don't really feel they will be hitting that. Then we have Kuzan. Yeah, I feel like they probably will not be hitting Blackbeard at all. Yes, this card is extremely strong, extremely versatile, like kind of like Moria in a way, but because Blackbeard plays like a much more micro playstyle, it kind of does the same thing and also forces your opponent to do the same thing. Yes, this card is very, very strong, and it does help Blackbeard be a meta contender, but I don't feel like Blackbeard is that powerful that they should hit it. Though I do admit that Blackbeard is like a gatekeeper for a lot of decks, so maybe it wouldn't be that bad to hit, but I don't really see them hitting it. Then we have the 8-drop kit. I will also put this here. Basically all the green decks now, along with the Smoker / Tashigi. It's Tashigi, right? The 3 cost that basically you can rest it to protect one of your guys. All the green decks are now like super just kit turbo decks. Which is not the most fun to play against, I think. But it's finally green is getting some shine, right, with the green-purple Luffy deck. As well as the, like, the red-green Smoker. I don't really see them hitting it at this point. Although I do have to admit that the numbers green-purple Luffy is putting up is quite scary. And that also has to do with this card. The Gum Gum Giant, just being able to cycle your deck, give plus 4,000 power. And that's all for like basically nothing, right? If you play it in the late game, the cost is basically free, and it's a 1-cost event as well. Kind of crazy, but I also feel like purple decks, they finally do have like a chance to shine again after probably like OPO1, and then I guess with the structure decks we had Law and Luffy for a little bit, right? But those were really more red decks in my opinion than they were purple decks in the playstyle anyway. Yeah, again, I don't really see them hitting the purple engine this quick after green purple Luffy becoming popular. Even though this card is very, very powerful, for sure, I do think for now it's probably safe. So yeah, that's probably all the cards that are currently being talked about that could get banned or like limited. And I really feel like Law and Moria are the only obvious choices. But to be fair, I never thought any lobby would be banned, and that got banned as well, right? So who knows what they might do. Then moving on to the cards that are already on the list and like they might move up or down. We have Law here. Yeah, I don't see this card getting off the list quite yet. It's just generically so powerful, and once again, this leader existing really limits card design. I think if this would get unbanned, it would still be like super, super competitive. Might even be the best deck, maybe. So for that reason, and like the just limiting future card design, I don't really see Law coming off the list. Then Sakazuki. So for the record, I don't think this leader will come back. I think it's generically just the strongest leader they ever printed in this game. Just the cycle to like discard a card, draw a card, so powerful. However, the deck is it's like a 4-life leader that's not very quick, so it has like a bad matchup into something like Dofi. And potentially other decks that are gonna come out. And I really think this wouldn't impact the meta as much as Law would, but I still think probably just to be sure they will keep this on the list for now. But to be honest, I would enjoy this card coming back because I always really enjoyed playing this leader. Then we have some event cards here. Reject. This card is just stupid, let's face it. In any yellow deck, this card's just kind of super busted. There's no real way to play around this card. It's just all around not the best card design in my opinion, and I honestly think this card will never come back. Speaking of cards I think will never come back, Moby Dick. Yes, Whitebeard is not doing anything right now, but just a stage card that gives all your characters plus a multitude of thousands, right? Absolutely ridiculous. Like if your field is full, sometimes playing down this card or this card being on the field can give you like a 10 ton in value, which is just absolutely ridiculous, and I really don't think this card should come back. Then Great Eruption, honestly, I saw some people saying like this could come back, but I don't really see it. Like, the Lucci player in me would of course love this card coming back, but it's just too versatile. There is just no cost, basically. Just draw a card, give something -2 for 1 don. Yeah, I don't see it coming back, and it probably shouldn't, just card design wise, right? There's just other cards that do basically the same thing, but they have like a downside, which I think is way more balanced. Then Annie's Lobby, honestly, I think this could come back. No bias, I swear. Like, I don't think it's that powerful. It would improve the Dofi matchup and like also improve other matchups, right? That like decks that go really tall. Just having this established on field requires you to have less reduction. But honestly, I think Bandai will not be bringing this back. And I get it, right? Lucci doesn't really need a buff, in my opinion. It's fine where it is, competitively viable enough where it is. And then the last card, Kabaji, yeah, I just don't think they will be giving Nami a toy back, and I also think they shouldn't. Like, I see no reason why they would suddenly give this alt-win leader another tool, but Nami has fallen off with Dofi becoming more viable, so who knows, but if I had to bet on it, I would say this card is definitely not coming back. So yeah, I personally, as you can see, do not expect a very big ban list. Maybe like some minor taps on the wrist, or maybe something like Sakazuki coming back. Maybe, but I don't really think so. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. Like, will come back, what will get hit? Did I miss any cards on this list? I'd really like to hear your thoughts. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel, give me a like. And if you do, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!